Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grind and shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to Fresh is the Word, the podcast about music, pro wrestling, and combat sports. I'm your host, K Fresh, and we got a lot to talk about this week. But before we get into everything, I just want to always remind you that you can always help spreading the word of Fresh is the Word by going to our website, freshisthepodcast.com, and sharing any of the links on there. I do have a new music column on there called In My Inbox that showcases just new stuff that maybe people are not aware about. You can also go to Instagram or Twitter and follow us at Fresh is the Word 1. That's Fresh is the Word, then the number 1. Or you can go to Facebook and go to facebook.com/freshistthepodcast and give us a like. And make sure you search for Fresh is the Word on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. It'll definitely help us out. If you want to support the podcast in any way, you can also go to freshisthepodcast.com. Click on the link that says Fresh is the Podcast. And, there's PayPal donations that you can make. Also, there's an Amazon link. If you ever want to buy anything on Amazon, use that link, and they'll shoot me back some commission. I won't change anything on your end. It'll just shoot me a few pennies my way. Just a bit of a programming note. Next week will be Thanksgiving, so I'm going to take the week off. No episode next week, but we'll be back the following week to talk about all the stuff that's happening in pro wrestling, MMA, and music. And like always, welcome my co-host, Detroit hip hop artist, MMA and pro wrestling connoisseur, and proud Marine, V Styles.
Hey.
How you doing, bro?
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? What's up, Fresh? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. We had a very exciting weekend with UFC 205, and I just got one question for you, man.
What's up?
Where the fuck is my second belt?
Where the fuck is my belt? Yeah, man. Good for Conor, man. He's a multiple weight class world champion at featherweight and lightweight. Well deserved.
Definitely.
Well deserved. Good.
Yeah. Before we get into the UFC talk, there's a few little stories I want to share with you. A few things that's happened the past few days. It's been actually kind of hilarious.
Okay.
The next night after, because me and you, watched UFC 205 together, your crib. The next night,
yep.
I went down to Toledo to go see this rock band, September Morning. They're kind of this mix of a hard rock band and like a art project and a graphic novel, because they have like comics and stuff like that. It's like super cool, And I had a really good time with the show. The funny thing was like after I was leaving, I couldn't get back onto to I-75 at all, because there was like there's construction on every ramp to get onto I-75 in Toledo for miles. So like
yeah, it is.
So officially, like Toledo might be the most annoying with road construction. It's up there with Michigan.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that in doing this, and this is a Sunday night. This is about Sunday night, 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m., almost midnight. It's making me drive all around Toledo, downtown Toledo, the outskirts of it, and basically Toledo is dead on a Sunday night. There's nothing going on. There's one thing going on though. Strip clubs. All that's open in Toledo on a Sunday night are strip clubs. And they actually have like almost in comparison to a lot of strip clubs here in like the Detroit area, they actually have like full like parking lots to be able to like park in, you know. Even
Wow.
even the music venue I went to see September Morning, there was a Deja Vu right next door.
Hey, man, hey, they're a brand. They're national.
Right, man. And I'm like, so there, little, and this isn't just like one or two strip clubs. I saw at least 5 just like going all around because I literally had to take the back road. I had to like go on my phone, get directions, and take the back roads to get into Michigan. Then I was able to cut over to I-75. And but okay, but the one thing that was kind of weird though, and tell me if this is weird and a little creepy though. I was driving around and there was this one road. It was kind of off the beaten path, and there really wasn't much on this road. But all of a sudden, I see an adult bookstore, and there's a bunch of cars there at like midnight on a Sunday night. Is it weird that there's an adult bookstore open at midnight with a bunch of people there on a Sunday night?
Very, very weird. Very weird to find. Yeah, wow. Especially on a Sunday night. That's crazy.
Like, you really couldn't wait for normal business hours on Monday to go get your porn? Like, there's like I can understand the strip club thing, but like an adult bookstore?
Yeah, you got to be a special type person to try to find them bookstores that during business hours, man. But believe me, it's a lot of them type weirdos out there, man.
Right, man.
I mean, not to say that you're a weirdo if you do that, but yeah, you are a weirdo. But yeah, that's hey, they need their place where they can find what they need. That's just the best way to look at it.
Right. I didn't know there was like an after hours adult bookstore crowd, you know? Like
Hey, you should try going down south. You would be amazed. You would be amazed at the peep shows that you see.
That's crazy. But then today I was like, I got up and I had to go run some errands, and I realized the other day that like I really needed to get a new pair of shoes. I'm not like a sneakerhead like a lot of our friends, you know.
I read that your ankles and your feet was hurting. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, this is my thing with I'm this type of person. I'm not like a sneakerhead. I might have like 1 or 2 pairs of shoes at all times to wear, but I wear them till they wear out. And it always creeps up on me. Like I never know when it's gonna happen, and it just all of a sudden, like my knees, my ankles, and my feet just all of a sudden start hurting, and that's when I know I need new shoes. But it always creeps up on me, and it's always so super annoying. And so I have a one spot that I usually go to in this instance. I always go to the Nordstrom sales rack in Troy.
Okay.
And
I'll do that too.
Yeah, I love that place because I can always find shoes that are different than what everybody else has, and I can usually find them at a really good deal. So I was able to find. I got these all black Nikes today. I forget what kind of brand they are, or like what kind of Nikes they are. But they're kind of like athletic ones and stuff, but they're all black. They look really cool. Then I got these like suede.
Okay.
Then I got these like suede like Converse like Chuck Taylors that look super sweet.
Oh.
So
I love Chucks, man. I love that. That's a classic style that will never ever go out of style.
And the funny thing is like I said, I'm not like a sneakerhead, but every time I go get something at Nordstrom's, I always find something where people will be like, "Where the fuck you get that?"
Indeed, because they don't think to look on the rack.
Right.
They don't think to look on those racks, and sometimes those racks have gems on them, and if you find that gem, good for you.
Right, man, it was crazy, and I was like, so I just looked at it, and I'm like, oh, sweet. Like I always find shit like that over there at Nordstrom sales rack, and then I just after every time I'm over there, I end up over at Somerset Collection. I never shop there though. I just go there to walk around. Basically, what I realized today is that like Somerset is like my breakfast at Tiffany's. I just go there and window shop like.
that's my getaway.
Right.
Whenever I want to, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Starbucks around here, man. But I just, it's nothing like being around money. Just the air of Somerset just kind of makes me happy. When I'm out there, when I'm out there thinking, man, that my clarity, comes through. I mean, I'm like, wow, man, go out to Somerset and you can come up with a plan, man. But yeah, I feel you on that. I like Somerset too.
Right, yeah. It looks pretty. There's
Novi too.
Yeah.
Novi's dope too.
Right, yeah. And you just like go there and you just go there and for me, I sort of like have this appreciation for the art, the artistic value of a lot of like some of the more expensive clothes that I see there and stuff. That in some of the places where I'm like, all right, this looks. I'm like, I like the idea. I like where this is coming from. So it is a super like great place to get your mind right and sort of think up of stuff and everything. Oh, but this was the funniest part though of my whole experiences, and I posted it on my Instagram. They have a Chick-fil-A there now. And
dude, I've seen the line, man.
There was like 100 people in line today, dog.
I think they overrated. That's just my opinion. I think they're cool, but it's not like similar to how they made Wahlburgers out to be. I thought Wahlburgers would be the second coming of the next great hamburger joints, and you go in there, and really the only thing on there that's different is the tater tots. You get to have tater tots and a set of fries. But I'm down south a lot. There's a lot of Chick-fil-A's down there, and I would have my friends talk about it. And you go there, and it's like, this is what y'all really tripping about. This. I mean, it's okay,
right? But
I'm not about to be 100, 200 deep in line just to get some fucking Chick-fil-A's. Fuck that. I'm good.
Right, man. I don't.
No diss to the brand, but no.
I don't got that much time for chicken, man. I'm not standing in that line. I was walking around. I'm like, wait, what's this line for, man? And I see Chick-fil-A. I'm like, are you for real?
I stand in line like that to pay my cable bill or to get my registration tags. But other than that, man, chances of me being in line that long is slim and none.
Nice.
All right. Slim and none.
Nice. So, moving on. For this week's podcast, I actually have a guest for it, and I mentioned it to you before. It's former TNA wrestler Sonjay Dutt, the original player from the Himalaya.
Oh yeah, you sure did tell me about that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get into that interview later on. I'll just cut it in and whatever later on, but it was cool. Me and him talked about, because he made his rap debut earlier on this year on one of his homies' records. So we talked about hip hop and then talked about the indie scene and his best times in TNA. He was part of that really cool core group with like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels that were part of that X division that was really the backbone of TNA for many of those early years.
X division was shit.
Man.
Yeah. Missed them days.
Yeah, like that classic match between AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels was like, it's still talked about.
Christopher Daniels is so underrated. He's a person that don't get talked about, and he should, man. But yeah, I remember that match. I remember that. Hell of a match.
Definitely, Christopher Daniels is he's one of the most underrated and slept on, wrestling talent. And he's cool right now, and he's in ROH right now with Frankie Kazarian as a tag team.
Ring Honor?
Yeah.
Are they still on locally the same station here? Because I haven't seen them lately on TV.
No, they don't have. Well, they're on that station.
Pop TV.
No, that Pop TV is where TNA is at.
Okay.
ROH is on a station called I think. Let me see. It's called like Comet or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know if they have that in Michigan at all, but you can still watch it on their website, like, and stuff like that. There's ways to watch it each week, so it's not even like a big thing. But yeah, definitely. It was cool to talk with Sonjay for a little while about that. So it was great to finally. I've been trying to get him on this podcast for like a year now. We've been going back and forth, and I ran into him again at the IAW show in Cleveland for Johnny Gargano's farewell. And I chopped it up with him again. I was like, yo, you still want to do this podcast? He's like, oh, yeah, no doubt, man. So we finally linked up, talked out over the phone this past weekend. So it was cool. We'll have that interview for you later on in the podcast.
All right.
So, and before we get on to any of the fighting, let's talk a little bit of music because there's been a few albums that's come out recently that, it's kind of in our vein. The Tribe Called Quest. There's a Tribe Called Quest album. It just came out. It's the final.
Man,
and it's really good, man.
There are a few things these days that can make me reminisce of being in my younger 20s. That album is so refreshing in a zillion ways, man. It's great to hear, first and foremost, Fife's still alive. Those rhymes.
Right.
I mean, it's just a lot of shit on this album that you can just sit back and smile about. Hearing samples, hearing Busta, like I know Busta, man. This sounds like the most fun Busta had in years as far as recording music. Q-Tip is masterful on creating tracks. It's not really anything bad that you can say about this project. And I heard some people say, man, well, it wasn't mixed right. It sounds,
What are you expecting?
Sometimes, man, you can be so artsy as an artist as far as like, the things that you're trying to present. I think certain songs Q-Tip had in mind to rock stadiums. Let's see. What's the title of this record? The one let me see this right quick. Because they got records that I can hear in stadiums, not just typical, rap joints. You're like, wow, okay.
Right.
I want to say Space Program. Space Program sounds like that was meant for a stadium.
Right, definitely.
Even We the People. We the People sound like some stadium shit. They got records on there when you listen to the mix and you might mean, well, the vocals are like this. Nah, I think he intended it to be like that because our artists sometimes envisions their music on a bigger platform, man. So, when you hear people like Kanye, say, I made this for stadiums. I think, a lot of this music was made, for stadiums, arenas, man. But shit is classic, man.
And I think it came at the right time, with
Tribe.
And I think it really came at the right time, specifically with everything going on with the elections and everything. It was something.
That's another thing.
It was something to uplift, and that's what I got out of it the most. Yeah.
With this project, they everything was perfect as far as the timing of it. Even performing on Saturday Night Live a couple days after this dropped with Dave Chappelle was pretty monumental, And from what I understand, this is going to be, with this being their last album, it's only right that it debuts number one.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it debuted #1, and all of their albums were charting also.
see, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So A Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul, they're still putting out dope ass albums. Salute to my man Fat Father too, man. He came out with an album called Veterans Day,
And I was just about to bring that up too. Yeah.
Fat Father is a very consistent artist from here. One of the dope lyricists from I don't even like saying from Michigan or Detroit or whatever. He's just one of the dopest lyricists that I know.
Right.
And salute to him for making some grown man rap, some boom bap. There's some hip hop music out here, man. If you guys are really searching, if you're looking, I just gave you 3 albums: Tribe, Fat Father, and De La Soul, man. But I am, I haven't stopped listening to this album, man. I think Mobius might be my favorite joint on that. Just hearing Busta the way that I like hearing him. I love We the People. Enough. Ego was, man, I love Ego.
Right.
Doom, 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 doom. I mean, that they got some shit on here, man. They got some real shit on here, man. So, and one thing I like about it is there are no fillers. There are no fillers on this project, man. You can play this project and you don't have to worry about fast forwarding.
Right.
I heard people make comments about Consequence on here. I think his music, I think his rhymes are what they are. It's either you like Cons or you don't like Cons.
Right.
I like Cons with A Tribe Called Quest, man. I'm not gonna sit on that dude, man, because I think it was a collective effort. You take his rhymes off, it might sound like a different album, man. So I like what I hear. So big up to A Tribe Called Quest, man, and R.I.P. Fife, he's still living, and go get that album, man. You want some dope hip hop? You want some dope music? Go support them projects.
Yeah,
definitely support them projects.
Yeah, and you brought up Fat Father's album Veterans Day, and I think, and I've said this many times recently, I'm like, I don't think we have, as Detroiters, the Detroit scene, or even as hip-hop, really given him the credit that he deserves as being a hip-hop artist, a writer, and being able to pen really great stories that are very personal.
Yeah. Fat Father's a beast, man. And here's another thing, man. Like, I'm all about, I like to consider myself a man's man, and there's no more way of being a man than being a tremendous father. And he puts that to the forefront of whatever his mission is, man. So, I have respect for him as a man, because you don't see a lot of guys out here that's really like that. Really talk about it and being about it, man. So not only is he a dope MC, dope artist, but he just I like Fat Father's spirit, man. And he goes in, man. It's hard not to like a nigga to go, excuse the French, but it's hard not to like a dude that, goes in, man. He goes in. Like lyrically, he goes in. And it's a shame that you don't hear his name, on many lists here. And, I feel the same way. Like, I think people be overlooking me. But, you can only control what you can control and consistently put out dope music, man. But I think with Veterans Day, he hit it out the ballpark. You just can't front, and it's produced entirely by my man Drugs Beats. So I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you can't front on what Fat Father, has done, just from a hip hop perspective, man. And if you are, shame on you, support that Veterans Day, man. I don't like saying, Detroit hip hop, Fat Father is just a dude that happened to be from here.
Right.
But he's a very dope MC.
Yeah, with that album, it starts off with a track, Shabazz Gospel, where it's 3 verses.
Yeah,
The first one's
that's
about
hard.
his dealing with his mother. The second verse is about the death of his brother, and then the third verse is death of a good friend of ours, Christopher Cobb. That
Yeah,
shit
Kyle was my
really hit me,
Kyle
man.
was cool.
Man, when I heard that song first, that third verse in particular
Third
really
verse
hit
got
me.
me too. It got me too. Because
Man,
I was like, wow. To be able, you know what's impressive?
what's that?
You know, we all have things that we go through in life, man, and sometimes they can be life changers. And when it's something like that, man, it's hard to, sometimes it's hard to pin that shit out. So I salute him for finally being able to paint that art, man, on that canvas, man, because, you know, sometimes, you know, your experiences, man, you know, especially when they're painful, it's really hard to talk about, man. So, you know, we use this hip-hop shit as therapy. So good for him for getting that out, man. But that third verse definitely got me, too. Cobb was a cool dude. He always treated me well.
Right. He treated a lot of people well. A lot of people wouldn't have music or would have had a place to stay at times if it wasn't for him. And the thing when he passed away, I was going through a lot of my own shit with, you know, like I mentioned before, with this relationship I was in. So for a while I wasn't able to see him, and it was really sad that when he passed away that I hadn't seen him in a long time. So like when I heard
Yeah.
that verse, I was just like, man, like
Yeah. Yeah. That the verse about his brother too. That was Fat Father's dope, man. He's a dope dude. To be able to finally get it, because I read somewhere that, you know, he had a problem talking about it, and I can relate. You know, because I had a person that, you know, I wanted to marry back in the day that committed suicide, man, and, you know, it's still hard for me to talk about it. I want to do a record about it, but
right.
it's like, how do I even start it off? And I think I'm still going to do it some shape or form, but it's hard talking about that type of shit, man. You know, it comes when it comes, man, but good for him that he was able to finally get that off, man, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Right. Yeah, moving on from music now. This past weekend was a big weekend for MMA. UFC made their debut, UFC made their debut in New York. It was the first MMA event in the state of New York. It was an incredible evening, incredible card all the way through. It was like it was filled with all the thrills of victory, all the agonies of defeat. It was one of those things where even as a wrestling fan, it's like had all of those. It was almost
it had everything you could ask for. It had
right.
The only thing it didn't have is somebody coming in with a money in the bag and a money in the bank bag. They didn't have no money in the bank briefcase. That's the only thing that it probably lacked. But other than that,
that would be great. What if at the end there when Conor McGregor won, if the lights went down and then you heard a gong and then the Undertaker came out?
Oh man, that'd have been epic. That'd have been epic.
But
super epic.
But what I loved about UFC 205 and then the days afterwards, sort of the fallout, is that it reminded me of the feeling of like WrestleMania, then the Raw afterwards, where you had all this stuff leading up to this big event, but then there's all these stories that happened at the event, and then new stories that came out after it, you know, and it was like, and what I feel like this event did. It's maybe just for the hardcore fans, but maybe for a lot of people, is that I feel like it for certain fighters that were able to win or be just impressive in their performance at 205, I feel like it got people a little bit more emotionally invested in them. After 205, I'm much more invested in what's going to happen with Yoel Romero and Michael Bisping. I'm much more invested in what's going to happen with Khabib. I'm emotionally invested in a lot more things after this event because it just worked out that way.
It did. And, it all worked out that way because Conor won. Now, if Conor had won, it'd have been a different swing, you know what I'm saying? He'd have been immediately exiled right back to the featherweight division, go defend your belt or else. And UFC, they still would use him, but some of the aura that Conor has would have worn off real quick because now you're talking about a guy that's 1-2 in his last 3 fights.
Right.
Instead of 2-1. I got a lot to say about Conor McGregor, man. Conor is one of them guys you either like or you don't like. I like Conor, but I dislike the smoke and mirrors that the UFC, the smoke and mirrors that the UFC tends to blind its fans by. Conor, obvious talent. You can't front that. The dude is a 2-division champion, featherweight and lightweight. You can't front that. But styles make matches, and the UFC will do everything in their power. And believe me when I tell you, if they do the exact opposite, I'll eat crow. But they're going to do whatever in their power to not put him in with Khabib.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on now since 205. He said that he's going to be a father and said that he might be taking some time off. That the kid's not coming until May, so there's still kind of an unknown thing about what's going to go on until then. If he's not going to fight until then, and then you have the question marks going around. Who gets the next shot? Is it Khabib? Is it Ferguson? And then his coach, John Kavanagh, is saying that Nate Diaz should get the next shot at 155 for the belts. And then
Nate Diaz, see, this is the sad part about all this. You know who's the loser here, and he shouldn't be the loser?
Who's that?
There is no way in the world that we shouldn't be talking about Jose Aldo. This kid
definitely
hadn't lost 10, 11, 12 years. All of a sudden, I refuse to call the shot Conor hitting with a fluke. I think it was just a perfect shot, timing wise and everything. But you've done this dude dirty. So you mean to tell me Conor's going to be able to keep the featherweight belt and he has yet to defend it once? So if you're talking about May, so now you're talking about him having this title over a year and not even defending that belt. Come on, man. It got to be something more to it than the bullshit that UFC is doing. It's like, why aren't we talking about him giving a rematch to Jose Aldo? And what they're going to do is they're going to select the fights that make sense to them. The Nate Diaz fight, number 3, definitely makes, from a dollars and cents perspective, it makes the most sense. Tyron Woodley, that's interesting because he's the welterweight king.
Yes.
And now you're talking about a dude going up to fight for his 3rd belt, making history, constantly doing stuff like that. I would like to see Woodley get that fight because I want to see Woodley get paid.
Definitely,
I root for Tyron Woodley because UFC, to me, just they not back him. They don't back him to me. You know, is he their champion? Yeah. You know, he's their champion in their eyes by default because of what he did to Robbie Lawler. But I don't really think that they want him champion, man. So I want that guy to keep winning, man. You know, similar to what they did to Robbie Lawler by throwing him to the wolves when he first came to Strikeforce to try to reduce his contract. You know, and then you talk about Khabib and you talk about Tony Ferguson. Khabib definitely is the number one contender, and I like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Ferguson, I root for people that was born in Michigan, man. Ferguson is a beast, but the one that they don't want to fight Khabib. They can use that he's been inactive. He's hasn't fought, you know, this. He's only fought 2-3 times in 3 years. I don't care.
Now, there's always something that they come up with. You know, with Khabib, he definitely showed at 205 what he's about. And then after the match, after the fight, he gave probably one of the best post-fight interviews, one of the best heel interviews, one of the best sort of this is like 80s wrestling. You know, he did it in multiple language. He addressed the Irish people saying he wants to fight their chicken. Man, one of the best interviews I've seen, man. Me and you were marking out when he was saying it, man.
Oh man, I loved it. I loved it, man. I've been a Khabib dude from day one, and when I mean day one, first time I've seen him. You know, I have a thing for wrestlers. To me, wrestlers rule. That's just me. I'm, you know, I come from that background. So Khabib, dude wrestles bears. I don't know how many times I got to say that. This dude wrestles bears.
From now on, every time we bring up Khabib, we got to say that, man. We got to say that, man. Every time we talk about Khabib, we got to say that he wrestles bears, man.
He wrestles bears, man.
Dog.
Who does that? Do you know anybody else that wrestles bears?
No, and
I don't know nobody else that got footage. I don't know nobody that got footage.
He wrestles fucking bears, dog.
Bears. And, you know, we laugh at that, man. But come on, you got to be a special type dude to even consider that. Who does that?
And
you know,
he even went to Twitter and said that he's like, I want my I want to fight for the UFC title for respect. But if I don't get my title shot next, I have a different plan. I won't be fighting in the UFC.
Good for him. Good for him, man. Sometimes you got to make people, you know, show their hands. And if UFC not going to show him that hand, if he's not part of their plans to, you know, make a fight between him and Conor, then, you know, whatever leverage he has, he should use it. You know, fighters are in the day and age to where they're getting smarter, bro. Definitely. And the day and age where fighters roll over, taking promoters' garbage, them days is leaving. You know, fighters are starting to know their value. And, you know, the bottom line is, you know, sure, UFC could – see, that's – oh, wow, I hate even getting into this because that's a whole nother arena. But that's why, you know, when this lawsuit, you know, when all this stuff is said and done, I really wonder what's going to happen, man. I think the fighters, you know, are gonna come out on top. There's going to be a fighters union, you know, I think real soon. You know, again, we talk about this almost every week. Right. Some people fight for money.
Yeah.
Some people fight for that respect. I think Khabib wants a title shot. I think he earned that title shot, and I think he will be a tremendous champion. But I think Conor's going to run from that fight. Conor will run from that fight. He go take the Nate fight. You know, he's going to see, and you know, people. You know, and this is one of the reasons I don't like casual fans. Casual fans be saying the stupidest shit, like, you know, Conor, he'll knock out Floyd Mayweather. Conor, he'll destroy Floyd Mayweather. Well, that may be true if it was if it was an MMA match, right? Because you know, you take, you know, Floyd off his feet and put him on the ground and you're fishing water. But the same thing goes with boxing with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. I don't care how hard Conor's left hand is. Name of the game is to hit and not be hit. I watched Floyd Mayweather embarrass Arturo Gatti years ago, and I haven't seen a performance like that fight, really from anybody since then. I mean, Floyd, he fights everywhere at Vegas. Vegas is his home. He's going to fight in Vegas no matter what. Floyd left Vegas. The last time he left Vegas is when he went to Arturo Gatti's hometown in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Told Arturo Gatti on ESPN he was going to beat the brakes off of him and embarrass him and make him look like a club fighter in front of his hometown fans. And he did that. All you got to do, punch up YouTube, Floyd Mayweather, or Arturo Gatti. Now, again, Conor has a left hand, but you're not going to be able to hit Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather doesn't get hit. And if you do hit him, he will adjust. So the chances of you getting a clean shot against Floyd Mayweather, slim and none. Floyd will frustrate you with pot shots. And once he has you, 4, 5, possibly 6 punch combinations will land. I don't think Conor McGregor, would stand a chance against Floyd Mayweather in boxing. I mean, I'm talking about literally. It would be an embarrassment. So for him to come out and say, I demand $100 million, like for what? Why give you $100 million for something that, like, okay, yeah, you're good in boxing and MMA, but just boxing within itself, nah, man, you're light years, behind Floyd Mayweather. Just like they used to try to promote Ronda Rousey with Floyd Mayweather, man. You seen where Ronda Rousey, so-called boxing, got her, right? Her shadow was whooping her ass, and when she was shadow boxing, man, she's like her horrible. She better stick to armbar, chicks and flipping them and doing stuff like that, because like boxing as a whole, pugilism is totally different than leg kicks and shooting and stuff like that, man. I get it. Conor, in some people's eyes, he's 1-2 in his last 3 fights. I think he lost both Nate Diaz fights. So for people to be comparing him, talking about, oh, he's great. Conor, if you look at it, Nate Diaz beat him, honestly, with 7 to 10 days notice. Not even in training camp. This dude basically got off the boat, made weight, and made him tap. And that dude had a full training camp. Okay, the second fight against Nate Diaz. A lot of us think Nate Diaz won that fight. Okay, Conor got it. Okay, cool. I'm not mad at that. A lot of us think Nate won that fight. Okay, now did you come back and win this fight? Sure. But really, from a technical point, you're 1-2 in your last, although you're 2-1. But a lot of us believe that you're 1-2. So when you hear TMZ and media and all, these casual fans, oh man, he's blowing up like Floyd. Floyd never lost in his 20+ years in boxing. The man owns a 49-0 record, and he was 5 weight class division champion. And most importantly, doesn't have any L's on his record. People got to stop, Conor McGregor, in his last 3 fights, one of them he got tapped. One of them, arguably, it could have went to Nate Diaz in the rematch. And sure, he looked great in the Eddie Alvarez fight, but that was just a perfect matchup for him. Right. So, sure, is he the hot commodity? Is he the hot fighter right now? Yeah, he's the for now thing for what's going on. But you can't do what Floyd did for 20+ years at that level. People say whatever they want about Floyd, but not how he bores them and how he does this, that, and the other. You put him in the ring against the people that you want to see, the Pac-Mans, against the Canelos, against the Mosleys, against anybody you wanted. The Ricky Hatton, he beat Ricky Hatton, but Ricky Hatton was like supposed to be the next coming, had never had an L in his life. Like Floyd don't get the credit that he don't, that he deserved, man, and that's more so because people don't like the persona. So
right,
they pay to see. They'll pay for one of his pay-per-views to see him lose. Conor, like I said, you go to these last 3 fights, you're like I said, in a lot of people's eyes, you're 1-2, but you're 2-1. But you're the hot thing right now. And when you can make $300 million in one fight, come talk to the dude. Not 10, 15 million, because the losers, for the most part, for Floyd fights get about that.
right.
So you may be the dude that's getting it in MMA, but you're not doing that. You're not doing it on a consistent basis, and you're not just like you. They use Floyd to make themselves, look bigger than what they actually are, man. So, to use Floyd's quote, can't compare an elephant to an ant, man. You just can't.
Okay, with everything that's kind of going on, there's a possibility that we might not see Conor McGregor for a little bit. What happens? Are they going to do this thing? Do you think they're going to do this thing where they give an interim title out between Khabib or Ferguson? And we're at this thing where Khabib doesn't even want to do that. He wants his title fight next. He doesn't. I don't think he wants to do this, interim title bullshit. What do you think is going to happen next in regards to all of this?
I wish that I had some type of contingency plan, but I don't, man. You got Dana making these decisions, man, and Dana really is affecting a lot of people's lives by not saying, hey, defend your belt against this person. No, you're going to fight this person. You're giving this dude too much power, man. And Conor right now knows he has that power. So it wouldn't surprise me if he held on to both of them belts. And UFC is not known really to concede to what somebody wants. They generally fall in line after a while. But Conor has a lot of Conor's got a lot of leverage right now, man. I mean, all the pay-per-views, like when you start paying attention to the numbers, and when you know the numbers, Conor just got leverage. But I don't think UFC is the type of company that's go bow down. But he knows the numbers. He knows what he brings when he fights. And I bet you his team of representatives saying, hey, whenever we fight, this is what we bring number-wise. There's not another fighter on UFC roster that can generate what he generates. So, will they buckle and give him a percentage? I think there'll be some fools to do that. Why do that? If you do that, then you'll have to eventually do that for another fighter and another fighter and another fighter. Vince McMahon, and I hate to even go off the wrestling with this, but Vince McMahon attitude is, okay, I'll just make another one. And I think UFC has the power to make another one, but they don't know who to get behind. They're scared. Conor is as much as a sure thing that there is that they have on their roster. Ronda Rousey, sure, she can bring something to the table, but I think after she gets smashed the next time, then she's gone. After that, who do you really have? I tell you what they should do. They need to start, hollering at the Diaz brothers, man, and get on their good side, man, because them dudes will put people in seats, and they're the exact recipe of, like,
oh, definitely.
Nick and Nate Diaz are what the fans like. We like Conor McGregor, but we like the, hey, fuck you guys. Fuck you,
And when I look at
Nate nigga cool. They cool.
Yeah, when I look at the Diaz brothers, you see guys that are like, the hip hop culture. You see like the street culture. You see those. They remind you of those guys that you went to school with that always got into fights and trouble, but you were still cool with them, and they never pulled you into their bullshit. They're always cool.
Nah.
And it's something that people can relate to. If the UFC got behind those guys, dude, shit could happen, man. A lot of it could blow up.
And look, and that's why I say it's a good chance Nate get that third fight, because if Nate wins the belt, now UFC will get behind him. I remember when my boy Mike Hogan was his manager, and they were negotiating, his contract, and Dana was saying shit like he's not a needle mover. Yeah, okay. Well, what do you think now? Is he a needle mover now? I would say so. And Connor's coaches, they're calling Nate the number one contender. I mean, I get what you're saying. He had an impressive victory against Michael Johnson, but I think me and you will agree that Khabib smashed Michael Johnson for 3 rounds, and it wasn't even remotely close. I don't think, and I'm a Nate guy, but I don't want to see him in there with nobody like Khabib. Khabib, man, look, from what I read that Khabib was talking shit to Michael Johnson, smashing him, talking about, I deserve this title fight. Smash, you need to give up now.
And he's doing the same thing to Dana White during the fight.
Right. See what I'm saying? And then, and talking to the promoter, and he was talking to Michael Johnson in there as he was beating him up.
Right.
And he was talking to Dana in between rounds. Khabib is that dude, man. People better get behind. Y'all better get behind the Eagle. Y'all better get behind the Eagle. That's the one Conor don't want to see. That's just my opinion. But to answer your question, I guess we're going to find out real soon, because a lot of people hold a lot of power in their hand, man, and we go see how the UFC counters counter as far as what he said. Because I believe he said he wasn't fighting again until he got a piece of equity in the company, and that's some bullshit. Like, dude, you're a contracted fighter. That's what you are. You are a fighter. Be a fighter. Enjoy the millions that you're getting that everybody else is not getting. Conor's on a whole nother, he's on a whole nother level when you're talking about pay.
Right.
So why not enjoy that? And instead of talking about you want ownership, because if you just go keep cherry picking the fights that's gonna make you look good. True champions get in there with people that may give them a little adversity, man. You didn't see GSP backing down from people. You never seen Anderson Silva backing down from people. As much as this guy, John Jones didn't back down from people. The real ones don't back down from people.
Right.
So we go see what Conor, how he's built. A lot of people don't like Yoel Romero. I wasn't surprised he beat Chris Weidman. I just wasn't surprised. I think I predicted it was a pick-em fight. I just wasn't surprised at all, with how that went down. That knee was just devastating. It went to round 3, tied 1-1. And that third round was definitely going to be the deciding round, and Yoel didn't even leave it in the judge's hands. People can call him a cheater all they want, but he's never tested positive for a steroid. Now, he tested positive for tainted supplements, which were tested by USADA and Nevada Athletic Commission. And the supplements came out tainted, which they were.
Yeah.
And that's why he received a 6-month suspension as to a year, like what John Jones got. So, I still don't look at him as a cheater. Some people have bodies like that, maybe that's just how their bodies are. Everybody makeup is a little different. And I just think Michael Bisping, he need to enjoy his days as champion, because, he claims he's not going to fight Yoel, but you're not Conor McGregor. you're going to fight Yoel. And, you know, you're going to fight Yoel. You're going to fight whomever you fight next is going to beat you. So enjoy this little run that you have. And, you know, good for you that you finally became UFC champion. But, you know, part of the reason he's a champion is timing. You know, Luke technically should still be champ, man. That was one of them timing fights, man, where, you know, fighter got injured, you jumped in 10 to 7 days. I could see Luke looking past you because he already smashed you, and you caught him. It's a part of the game. So, you know, if everything goes right, I think Yoel should be, you know, the next person that fights him, and I pick him as, you know, the new champion. Welterweight, Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy. To me, they had the fight of the night.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. This goes into a lot of the things that we talked about before in regards to Tyron Woodley, where it's just like everybody is fronting on this guy. They don't, and between every corner, it's like they rip a little bit of part of his experience away from him, and it's very frustrating as a fan of his, because first off, like when it came to the way they announced the winner of the fight, they first said that he won, then they said it was a majority draw, and that was just really, you know, that was very discomforting for him because he thought they were about to take his belt away and give it to Wonderboy. But
yeah, this
was the weird thing about it. Did you see the actual scoring of this match? This is where it just.
No, I didn't. I didn't see the scorecard.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down to you, and you're gonna see how weird this shit is. Okay, the one judge that gave it 48-47, he gave 3 rounds to Woodley at 10-9.
Okay.
The 2 other judges who ended up doing the 47-47 draw, they each gave him 2 rounds, with 1 round being a 10-8. But here's the kicker, though. Each one of those judges gave a different round as 10-8.
You said each one of them judges gave a different round, 10-8?
Yeah. One of them gave a first round as 10-8. How can you give a 10-8 first round to Woodley and not give 10-8 for the 4th round?
Yeah, I thought he had 2 10-8 rounds. I thought the first round and the 4th round were both 10-8 rounds.
Right, but yeah, the two judges that they gave him the 47-47, they gave different rounds as 10-8.
Oh, that's piss poor. That's piss poor. See, and that's what we talking about, man. You don't know what the judges be looking for. I know when I am. If I like a fighter as compared to not liking a fighter, I don't see my like or dislike. I just see 2 guys in there fighting, and I can judge a fight without not saying the bias is even involved, man. But I know what I'm looking for as far as when you're talking about scoring. Who's the person? Who's the aggressor? Who had the cleaner shots? Who had the takedowns? Who landed the clear, visible punches? I be wondering how these dudes get commissioned to judge a fucking fight. Like, how is it that we can see this and we're not technically judges, but here it is, you're a fucking judge and you getting paid for this and you doing a piss poor job. Like, I never understood that.
You know,
never understood.
I can understand if you judge the first round 10-9 to Woodley and the 4th round 10-8 to Woodley. But I can't understand the other way around, where you would judge the first round 10-8 to Woodley, but then give him 10-9 on the on the 4th round. To me, that just sounds really suspect.
Retarded. Excuse the French, but yeah, it sounds crazy, man. I think sometimes these judges need to go back and take some remedial courses. More MMA judges than anything, man. I've seen horrible scores throughout my years, man. Just being a fan and being at events, and it's like, what were you looking at? I thought round 1 and round 4 were clearly 10-8 rounds for Woodley. When Woodley got control of him in the first round and kept him on the ground, he dominated him. dominated him on the first round. That fourth round dominated him. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm just happy he's still champion. You know, despite all the bullshit mishaps that UFC put him through. Glad he's still champion. You know, Wonder Boy don't have a reason to hold his head, you know, down. And I hope he gets a counter fight, man. Ultimately, you want to see a dude get a money fight. And if he has to face Wonder Boy again, then we'll see it again. We'll see, you know, how he tries to, you know, counter that distance that Wonder Boy has a knack of putting his fighters through, man. It's a lot of distance. He covers a lot of distance with those legs.
And another thing that, you know, in regards to what I was saying about Woodley is that even after all that was done, later on, it was actually his belt that they brought into the ring for Conor McGregor so he can hold the two belts up. And and they didn't, and from hearing the interviews with Woodley, they didn't really ask him to do if they could use it. They just kind of came back and got it and said thank you. And that night, Woodley wasn't even able to take pictures with his belt at MSG on this historic night. So they took that away from him also, you know? Like,
that's some whole ass shit.
Like, what? And for me, I hear the interviews with Woodley. I see all the things that he does. He was even voted as, like, one of the top most important people in St. Louis, like top 100, and they had a whole celebration for it and everything. This guy has been fighting as a champion. He's a champion right now. And what does he have to do to, like, get some respect from his company? Does he have to come out there dancing or something? Or does he have to be controversial? What the fuck does he have to do?
People don't like fighters like Woodley, fighters like Mo. They like fighters. Well, excuse me. I shouldn't say that. I don't think they like. I know here it's about to be some controversy, but I think black MMA fighters are treated a little differently than you know their counters. That was Chael Sonnen. You know, Chael Sonnen speaks his mind. He's loved. Woodley speaks his mind. He's not liked. Conor McGregor speaks his mind. He's loved. You know, anybody not named Conor McGregor, they're hated. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, certain fighters, man, you know, they just want them to fight and not say nothing. And Woodley is not one of these dudes. Woodley is one of these dudes. Like, how do you boo Tyron Woodley? That dude's two-time All-American at Missouri, world champion. Positive guy. He's a family man. How do you boo that? You boo that? You know, I just think casual fans suck, man. Casual fans really suck.
Yeah, it's too bad.
They believe in the tooth fairy.
Right. It's too bad because Woodley definitely is somebody that you could get behind, and there's nothing about him that turns me off, that thinks that he's an asshole or you should boo him. He's active. He's a family man. He's active in his community. He's a competitor. He's a straight up competitor, and he's shown that he's a champion. And I just don't like how they're always fronting on him and always taking a little bit of his experience out at each step.
Yeah, I agree. They do him wrong. They do Chris Cyborg wrong. They doing Khabib. They doing a lot of people wrong, man. From what I heard, they gave Nate Diaz seats to Nick Jonas.
Right.
Like, how do you do stuff like that to guys? These are your fighters. You're supposed to take care of your fighters, man. And I just don't get it, man. I guess it's the old adage, what have you done for me lately? But in Nate Diaz's case, he's done a lot for you guys lately, man. Treat that dude with some respect.
He's a part of the storyline. He's part of the biggest storyline in UFC right now with Conor McGregor. He's a part of that storyline.
You know, Conor is 2-1 in his last 3 fights. I keep going back to this. Arguably, you could say that he's 1-2 his last 3 fights, but yet people are so talking about how, he's Floyd. You know, I just hate. It's like, wow, you fuckers are stupid. Are you really buying in that? And then for Dana to come out and make comments, you know, Floyd hasn't done one of the things that Conor has. You know, Conor got losses on his record. Conor has lost. So the whole aura, one of the things about being an undefeated fighter is who's going to give that person their first loss.
Right.
Okay. Floyd has never lost. So one of the buying things, one of the reasons we watch Floyd is because we want to know if this is going to be the first time he loses. It's not the same thing with Conor. We know Conor has lost. You know, he's tapped out. Really, if you think about it, I was seeing something the other day where a female made a comment. Oh, Conor, he's used to taking shots. He would smash with it. He's an MMA fighter. He's used to taking shots. Wrong. No, he's not. Because if you really look at it, the first Nate Diaz fight, what made him shoot to the ground? Getting popped in the jaw.
Right.
So him taking a right punch made him say, oh, shit, let me try to take him down because I don't want to get hit in the face no more. If you really want to look at it, that was a KO on his feet, which made him shoot to the legs, which ended with a tap. So Conor is not this invincible guy that, you know, I just think Floyd would beat the brakes off of this dude and in a boxing match. And you talking MMA, you know, stylistically, you're going to only keep him against, you're going to have him against somebody that's going to stand, not wrestle. I think the Jose fight with us, that was the one we say, you know what, Jose's jiu-jitsu, da-da-da-da. You know, but what can you really say when you knock a dude out in 7 seconds? That really happened. So, you know, like I just think fans are real stupid. They're not knowledgeable. They just want to see the ESPN highlights and they think they understand the fight. Like I don't get me wrong, I love knockouts, but I more so enjoy the setup of a knockout more than just that one punch. It's like, how did you set this dude up to get him up out of there? You know, but you know, he go fuck around, bark up the wrong tree, and telling you, one loss will destroy that aura. If he would have lost to Nate Diaz again, then it would have destroyed what we know what it is now. And as far as, you know, why are we so intrigued by some Irish dude, you know, with 2 belts? You know, if he'd had 2 losses in a row, we wouldn't be talking about Conor McGregor. We'll be like, damn, UFC don't have no more stars. Like, who's their star right now? You can't talk UFC without talking Conor McGregor.
Right.
They got him ranked number 2 pound for pound behind Demetrius Johnson, which is bullshit to me. You know, you jump all these people because you've had just like the perfect fights. Like, Conor ain't fought the dog. Conor ain't fought the who's. Conor has fought fight stylistically his advantage. That's just what it is. He's fought dudes stylistically that he could have some advantage with. And you know, I call it as I see it. And I like Conor McGregor, but I'm not gonna sit up here and say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread when I know Khabib is out there, when I know Tony Ferguson is out there. Hell, you know, when Anthony Showtime Pettis is out there, people don't talk about Anthony Showtime Pettis, man. But you know, there's some guys out there that would give Conor problems, man. But you know, he better do right and pick the right guy. Because if he picked the wrong guy, he ain't gonna have one of them belts.
Yeah, moving on to another fight. Was the women's strawweight fight from 205 between Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. That was a pretty good fight, man. Joanna champion, she's a beast, man. She's a Terminator.
And she's my favorite women fighter next to Chris Cyborg. I can't wait to meet her. She trained down in American Top Team with my partner. And, yeah, she's a beast, man. Congratulations to her. This is probably the most trouble fight I've seen her in. You know, she had some lumps, she had some bruises.
Right.
But all in all, she did what she was supposed to do to defend her title, man, and I hope she gets paid.
And even in loss, Carolina showed a lot. You know, she's definitely going to be around.
She in losing, she actually won. She didn't lose anything.
Right.
She lost a decision, but I think she gained more in the loss. Just like I think Michael Johnson gained more in that loss to Khabib than the mauling that he got, because he got beat up for 3 rounds up until him tapping. I was saying to myself, man, how many of these punches can you take? I mean, that dude got crucified at least 5 times,
right,
and kept taking punches. So you have some fighters that actually win in a losing effort, and I think she's definitely one of them, along with Michael Johnson.
Who do you think is next for Joanna?
That I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at her weight class and see.
There's been talk about Jessica Andrade.
I don't know if she's ready for that yet, man. I don't know if anybody ready for Joanna, man. I think she needs to go on vacation, recharge her batteries, and somebody, maybe they need to have a #1 contenders match, man, because she is that nice. She's that nice, man. I think she deserves a break. I definitely think she deserves a break. So I hope she takes a nice vacation, and I hope that she'll defend her strap. I see her, hold on to that belt as long as she wants to.
Yeah, and also from that night, another women's fight was the Raquel Pennington versus Miesha Tate. Raquel Pennington was pretty dominant. Miesha Tate retired afterwards. Miesha Tate, and I actually did see, apparently there's some video that UFC put out where
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, she basically just quit in the. I mean, we saw it from our vantage point, like that. She just wasn't there. She wasn't.
Yeah, we were calling that shit. I'm like, what is she doing? I've never been this big Miesha Tate person. I just think she got by her boobs, and I hate to put it like that. She got by her looks and all that other corny stuff that I don't care about. Is she a former Strikeforce champion? Is she a former UFC champion? Those are accomplishments that don't come by everybody. She's had a great career. I'm glad she's not in the cage anymore. I never was like, how do you cheer for a person named Cupcake? Yeah, good for her. Hey, at least Brian Caraway, at least he's still going to be fighting. So, she's not going to be completely gone. I do like the fact she told Dana, fuck you, I don't work for you anymore. That was
that was one of the best things. Yeah,
yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't want to come off as this big Dana White hater, because I'm not. I just want to see him do the right thing, and when it's not equal for everybody, then it's gonna be a problem. And he shows favoritism with his fighters. Pretty much obvious. You see it all the time. We've been seeing it for years. Just want Dana to do the right thing, and he's consistent. Don't get me wrong, he's done, eons of marvelous things for MMA, but Dana turning into Don King right in front of us, and not Don King, the fraudulent guy, but Don King, the guy that will do any and everything to make some dollars. And it's about making bread, but it's about the integrity of the sport, too. How do we trust you when you constantly not going by the rankings? So, yeah, it sucks, but it's definitely true. Who Who else did we see on that card?
There's also Frankie Edgar versus Jeremy Stevens.
Frankie Edgar put on a massive performance as usual. Although he did get caught with a right hand. No, he got caught with a kick, didn't he? Yeah, he got caught with a kick. Jeremy couldn't handle that. He couldn't land with that right hand. Frankie Edgar did what Frankie Edgar does: movement, strikes, explodes. Impressive win, and Jeremy Stevens is a stud, man. So that's definitely an impressive win. Great card all the way around, though, man. I don't think there was one fight that I was like, man, get this. Well, except Misha Tate. Get this shit over with so we can get to the next fight.
Right.
There's been many times I'd be like, you might play Madden or something like that to the next card come on, because it's like I don't want to watch this shit, man. But good win for Raquel Pennington. That was her championship. That was probably the biggest fight she's ever won.
Yeah.
Good for her, and it's gonna help her move up in the rankings, man. But I don't think she's gonna go any further really than that. I mean, she'll be, between the contender stage for a minute, but I don't see her fighting for a belt no time soon. No diss to her. That's just how I kind of view it.
All right, yeah, yeah. Before we go on to a bunch of there's some a lot of MMA cards going on this weekend, but there's a few things to talk about also from last weekend. The Bellator 164, Douglas Lima knocked out Koreshkov.
I'm happy for Douglas Lima, man. I'm happy for him, man. He finally was able to load up and land one of them shots. And he was losing that fight prior to that happening. So, good for him. He's a two-time welterweight champion now, so good for him, man. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run into him soon at one of these Bellator cards. But I'm happy that he was able to strike gold twice.
Definitely, and then also the one championship card earlier last week. Shinya Aoki,
the cat from the Philippines.
Yeah, he was TKO'd in the third round against Edward Folyang. That will end Aoki's 9-fight winning streak. And
I think we at that time for some fighters reached that wall to where they just reached that wall to where it's what's going to push them. Aoki's probably going to get a rematch, but this might be it for him, man. I think he may have reached his ceiling. He's been so dominant for so long. It's similar to Anderson Silva. You're so dominant for so long in a weight class, eventually you're going to run into that wall. And this could be the wall that he ran into, man. So salute to him for being the champion that he's been, all these years. And hopefully he can bounce back from this. But, even in a rematch, I don't think he'll be able to come back and beat this young lion from the Philippines.
Right. And one of the things that I liked about with one championship and how they built up this fight and then everything afterwards is that Aoki is a big name in that company and they built him up as such. But when Edward won, they celebrated his win also so greatly. And that's what I loved about it. I like the respect that they gave both of these fighters in this match.
Yeah. And over in Asia, man, that's how they are. They real respectful. It's definitely different than how they promote guys in the UFC. It's definitely different than how they promote guys in the UFC, whether they one guy is a good guy, the other guy is a bad guy. I think you need more of that, man. You got to celebrate. That's what it's all about, man. You got to celebrate these dudes, man. Show them that they appreciate it. And fans will appreciate you for that, man. Like, it's just a different, like, our fans over here compared to there, totally different.
Yeah.
We have bloodshed, venomous asshole fans over here, man. They just want to see blood. They don't care who blood it is.
Right.
Then you got fans that truly honor the sport, and everything about it is honoring. You know, they don't like none of the ass clown games. They just want to see two fighters going in there and giving them their all, and it's about the skill set. And similar to how Japanese or Asian fans love pro wrestling. Like, I think Asian pro wrestling fans are different than our fans.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
definitely.
They appreciate the art form more so. You know, us, we just want to see some gory shit. So, you know, it's all about the demographics, man. And, you know, that's why ONE FC is, you know, where they are as far as in their country, man. You know, you're getting all these buys on live television over there because they really love, like, you know, that community. They love mixed martial arts.
So before we get to the next topic, I want to play an interview that I did this past weekend with former TNA wrestler and independent wrestling superstar Sonjay Dutt. We talk about his rap debut earlier this year. We talk about hip-hop. We talk about his all his best memories in TNA and just indie wrestling in general. So here's the interview with Sonjay Dutt. Yeah, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast was that not only have you been, you know, a prominent figure in wrestling, but also, you know, you're a big hip hop head. Also, you even made your rap debut earlier this year with on a track.
That's right.
Talk about that track. You did it with a hip hop artist named Vice.
Yeah. So it kind of, you know, I love hip hop. Always been a hip hop fan, but you know, I kind of know my limitations, and I know I'm like musically, I don't have any musical talents. So I never really aspired to get into that side of things, but you know, it kind of fell in my lap. There's an artist down in LA named Vice, and there's another artist named Yuppie Lifestyle, and he's also a producer, and he's got his own record label, DTLA Records, and kind of fell in my lap. They presented to me. They're big wrestling fans as well, and they said, hey, you know, this was a track that they had done, and this was actually kind of the remix to the original Moguls track, and they said, would you want to jump on this Moguls remix with us? And I said, well, I don't know what you guys expect from me, but I'm sure I can give it a shot. So I flew out to LA, got in the studio, banged it out. We went to Marina Del Rey, right outside LA. We shot the video down in Marina Del Rey with got this nice boat out on the water. Your cliche rap video.
Right, I was just watching it.
Right. Girls, boats, liquor. But it was really well done, man. The producer of the video, great equipment. He had these drones, these awesome high def cams, and it was a really professional looking thing. And the video's out, the track's out on iTunes, Moguls. I had a blast. I almost like thought, okay, well, maybe this is something I can do. I can, you know, it wasn't. I don't want to say it was easy, but you know, it definitely kind of came to me as we kept going in the studio.
Great. When did you first originally get into hip hop?
Let's see. When I first got into hip hop, I guess I was around 10, 11, 12, early 90s. I want to say this is kind of like when the gangsta rap era kind of was being ushered in the early 90s, and
Definitely, yeah.
You know, it kind of spoke to me, man. The fight the system, the anger, all that kind of really stood out to me, and I fell in love with it ever since.
Where were you living at that time?
I was living right outside D.C. in Northern Virginia, and you know, I still there. I'm still repping 703 Northern Virginia. So it was, you know, I think it's just timing in life, and Once you hear something, some kind of music that really speaks to you and your surroundings and your environment and the people around you, you kind of get sucked in.
Who are some of the artists that you really were drawn to at that time?
So originally, I can vividly remember maybe like one of the first couple artists that I really fell in love with was Dre and Snoop, and then I kind of expanded and I kind of fell in love with Nas, Tupac especially. Nas was my guy, and then I also was appreciating the other side of the spectrum with Common and Talib Kweli. Digable Planets came around, Dilated People, so stuff like that as well.
Right. Personally, my all-time favorite hip-hop album, my top 3 is Dr. Dre's The Chronic, Biggie's Life After Death, and then probably my all-time favorite is Mobb Deep's The Infamous.
Oh, it's classic. Mobb Deep was another one. Actually, I one of my favorites was the Black Star album with Talib and Talib Kweli. So I mean, and Mos Def. That was, man, I don't know, that really spoke to me. But it was again it was a different side of the spectrum where you had your Dre's and your Cubes and your Pacs, yelling and they were doing their gangster rap, and then the other side you get Talib and Mos Def and a completely different style of rap.
At that time, what's the area that you grew up in? Describe that area. Was it a middle class area? Was it more impoverished? Was it more high class? What was that area like?
It was the cliche middle class area. We were a middle class family, and my crew, my friends, my close circle. We all were kind of cut from the same cloth. Nobody was handed anything to them. We were all kind of, and our families as well. We were out there. We were, scratching and clawing to make ends meet, and a true middle class family. Especially the area. And the funny thing was in Northern Virginia, you get two ends. You get your middle class, and then you get your very, very upper class. So we definitely weren't there. But we were close by to that, right outside D.C. and that's a very very expensive area and whatnot. But we were definitely a middle class area. Northern Virginia was working class families.
Musically, what sort of what artists are you feeling these days?
Man, it's interesting. I was just talking to my buddy about it, and some of the rappers that are out now, it doesn't really speak to me. And actually, for the last couple of weeks, I've been in this mode where I just kind of have been going back and listening to some of the '90s stuff. The other day, I was listening to Ready to Die. It's funny you say that. I was listening to Ready to Die.
Okay.
Let's see. The other day, I was playing Illmatic again. I don't know, some of the. And people may hate me for this, but I really truly appreciate a guy like Drake, and I appreciate a Wayne. But some of the other, I don't want to name any names, but some of the stuff that's coming out right now really doesn't speak to me.
Oh, I understand where you're coming from. There's only there's only a few guys these days that I'm really feeling. Have you heard these two guys from Buffalo, New York, Conway and Westside Gun?
No.
Very grimy, very street grimy, but they drop a lot of references. A lot of wrestling references.
Oh, is that right?
In their music, but it's not corny or cliche or anything. They'll just drop it in the middle of some street shit. Or even. And I've
noticed that that's becoming I don't know. It's so much nowadays. I hear it all the time now. It's like every rapper is a wrestling fan, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and there's a parallel that I wanted to even ask you about. When it comes to sort of indie wrestling, especially right now, and I feel like we're in this really amazing period for indie wrestling, stuff outside the WWE umbrella, and
absolutely.
And these shows, if you go to them, because the wrestling fans on the internet can be probably some of the most negative people ever. But
Sure.
when you go to an actual show, it's all love, and it's very much like a hip hop scene or a music scene.
It totally is. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a really good comparison.
Have you these days with kind of like this influx of the indie scene? We're in a really great indie scene where there's a lot of talents. There's a lot of good organizations that are all sort of differentiation, like different from each other. Like,
Sure.
sort of, describe what you've seen out, traveling, going to different companies. How is indie wrestling different right now than it has been in the past?
I think it's catering to, and I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but it's kind of catering to a broader spectrum where, you get your fans that do watch wrestling on a Monday night or Tuesday night, but then you've got fans that may not watch wrestling on television, but they want a fun night out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and they want to be entertained. And pro wrestling is, an independent wrestling show is kind of their outlet. You kind of, when we ran into each other at AIW, Kelly, that crowd, you could tell there's a lot of diehard wrestling fans that are watching every week, but then you could also tell just looking out in the crowd that there's some people that only specifically are going to be coming to these AIW shows here in Cleveland on a Friday night. Right. They want to be entertained and they want a night out, and this is something different. It's something special. I think it's catering to a broader spectrum of an audience that just isn't those guys that are such a hardcore wrestling fan, but somebody that is wants to be entertained by something different, something new. There's characters that speak to them. There's action that speaks to them that they know they're not going to get that kind of action on a Monday night wrestling on television. So it's so much different than what you see on TV. So much so that, WWE is kind of trying to emulate that, with the cruiserweights and the NXT and stuff. So that I think really shows how prevalent and how special, independent wrestling has become lately.
Right. How did you originally get into wrestling?
I guess the same old story. I grew up loving it, man. So from as far back as I can remember, my dad was a wrestling fan, so it would always kind of be on in the television around the house, and I fell in love with it. It was always on. So I was 18, and there was a wrestling school that was just opening up in D.C., which wasn't very far from me, and I made the trek over there and kind of got trained the proper way, which is, people may not know that, to be a pro wrestler, you've got to go to school, just like any other trade or skill that you want to learn. You go to school, you get trained, you learn the ins and outs, and then you kind of get thrown to the wolves and see if you can last and see what you can make of it. And things snowballed pretty quickly, and 15 years later, I'm still at it.
When did you make your debut in TNA? Were they still doing the Wild Side, like NWA mashup sort of thing when you were?
Yeah. So when I started TNA in 2003, I want to say the fall. It was about October 2003. And at that point, they were about a year old, and they were still running the Wednesday night pay-per-views in Nashville. And, it still was NWA TNA at that time. And then I was there full time for, and I thought I was there for, maybe a week or two, because that time they didn't have any house shows or TV. It was just the Wednesday night pay-per-views that they would run every week. And, I thought, I get a couple week run out of this, but it turned out to be about 6 years.
Right. Yeah, looking back, because you were a part of that core sort of X Division talent that was pretty much the backbone of that company. With the Samoa Joes and AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and go on. There's a ton of talent that was a part of that. Looking back,
right.
what was your best memories of that time with TNA?
I don't know if there's a specific memory, but just the fact that we were striving to for the same goal. We were all kind of on the same team. We were the underdogs, and we had a special product, a different product that. We felt was really reaching, the lost wrestling fan that was out there that wanted to change and wanted something different, wanted to witness something they hadn't seen before. Because at the end of the day, guys, some of those guys you mentioned, including myself, we weren't hired because we were big names or superstars. We were hired for our skill level at pro wrestling, and it was great that TNA gave us the outlet to kind of show that skill and show this different side of pro wrestling, which truly was pro wrestling. We were good at that, and they kind of let us have the ball for a little bit, and you could say they took it away from us a few times, but the X Division really set us apart from what else was going on at that time.
It's crazy now that of that group that's there, you have someone like Samoa Joe who's in NXT. Then you have someone like AJ Styles who people were always thinking, when is he going to be like the WWE guy? And now he's finally in WWE as a champion.
Yeah.
And I always think back to I seen this match between you and AJ Styles in AML from like, I'm not sure, it was a couple years ago. You guys had a great match, and then after the match, he totally got on the mic and gave you props for your talent. How did that feel, and how does it feel to see someone like AJ Styles be a champion in WWE now?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome feeling. That was actually the first time that we had a singles match. All these years, me and AJ, we've had we've been tag partners. We've done other multi-man matches, but we never had a singles match. And to me, it was special because at the time, and I still believe this today, that match was, I believe, a year ago, and I said that then, and I'll say it now, is that he truly is, and for the past maybe 2 or 3 years, he's literally been the best wrestler on the planet. So it was real special to wrestle him in a one-on-one match, while he was at the top of his game, which he still is, But over the years, me and AJ have become good friends. We've been friends for, ever since I got to TNA. So over 10 years, and it's great to see him in the position that he's in because it's something that all of us have believed and felt that he deserved for so long, and it's happened. Cream rises to the top.
Great. Yeah, I don't want to time burglarize you anymore. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Sonjay Dutterson. Facebook, if you put in Sonjay Dutt, I'm there. I got a pro wrestling tees, Sonjay Dutt on there. If you want to support, buy a shirt. But yeah, I'm always on there. Tweet me if you want to book me for your event or your wrestling convention coming up. Sonjay Dutt at msn.com. Hit me up. We'll talk hip hop, wrestling, whatever it may be.
Great, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Good luck on the road. So that was the interview with Sonjay Dutt. All right, moving on to what's going on this weekend. There's a bunch of cards going on in Bellator, UFC, Invicta. Bellator 165, the headliner for that's going to be Benson Henderson versus Michael Chandler.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of tough for me because I like both of them dudes. I met both of them guys. Michael Chandler, both of them was super cool, but Michael Chandler was like extra cool. He knew I was with Mo, and I walked up to him. I was like, he was like, "You King Mo guy, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Man, I said, you mind, we get a pic?" He was like, "Yeah, come on." So this girl took my phone. She said, "I'm going to hold this the long way." She said, "We got to get your shoes in the pic. Your shoes are awesome." I was like, "Oh, shit, this is pretty cool." Pretty cool. But Michael Chandler, he's a class act, along with Benson Henderson. I'm not going to pick a winner because I like both of these dudes.
Right.
It would be dope to see Benson Henderson become, to be UFC champion, to be a Bellator champion, and where did WEC? So he'd be a Triple Crown winner if he wins the belt tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting. I just want to see a good fight. May the best man win. Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. But I'm excited to see Michael Venom Page tomorrow, man.
Oh yeah, that's the co-main event versus Fernando Gonzalez.
MVP is that deal. And, people talk about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. MVP has way more accolades than Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So that's a guy that needs to be on people's radar. So if you haven't heard of MVP, tune in to Bellator tomorrow at 9 o'clock for the co-main event. I think you'll love his fighting style, and he's that deal. MVP is that deal.
Yep. Moving over to UFC, they got 2 cards actually going on Saturday. One in Northern Ireland and one in Brazil. The first one's going to be headlined by Mousasi versus Hall, their second bout. Who do you got this time?
You already know what I'm gonna say. This part 2.
Yeah.
Man, because Hall caught him with that. Hall caught him and knocked him out the first fight. You know what I always say, man. I always root for the guys that my guy beat. Because it gives me more leverage to say, my boy beat Gegard Mousasi for a world title. I think Gegard, man. I think Gegard is on a winning streak right now, and I think he beats Uriah Hall if he stays focused and don't get caught.
And then the other card that night's going to be main event by Bader versus Nogueira.
Would I be wrong to say who really cares about?
And apparently, this is their second bout. Together.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm gonna pick Bader. I'm gonna pick Bader. I'm gonna pick Bader. I think the Nogueira brothers kind of like hit a wall. And with this being Little Nog, I think Little Nog, this might be his swan song right here. If he loses, it might not be no more Little Nog. So we're gonna see. But I'm picking Bader right now.
And I did forget to mention this. I guess on the prelims for Bellator, Kimbo Slice's son's going to be finally making his debut.
Oh yeah, you know what?
There's been a few hiccups already because his previous opponents haven't been making weight. So they looks like it's finally going to happen.
Yeah, weigh-in should be today, man. So we'll know if this dude make weigh-in at 7 o'clock. That should be the time that they weighing in, or unless they did it early. I've seen one of his fights. I'm curious to see. Overall, I think he has a better shot to be a better fighter than his father, because he has more of a complete game. He has a stand-up, and he has wrestling.
Right.
So, wrestling, to me, wrestling is the best space for anything when you're talking about throwing hands. So, he uses wrestling to set up a ground and pound. So I think we'll see a variation of his father, and I think you'll see a better rounded Slice tomorrow. So I wish him luck. His father, I met his father once. His dad. I met his father in Houston this past February. Me and Mo was out there for the fight that he had with Dada, man, and he treated me well. And after the fight, everything was lovely and cool. So it's sad that we lost somebody like that in mixed martial arts. To something like a enlarged heart. And, I think his son is going to carry that legacy over, man. So good luck to him tomorrow, and I'll be tuned in to watch it.
Definitely. Let's move on to some pro wrestling. It's Survivor Series weekend in the WWE. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to be traveling to Toronto to attend the NXT Takeover. I'm not going to be able to make it to Survivor Series, but I'm super excited for NXT Takeover. It's going to be headlined by Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe. That's definitely. Man, look.
That's gonna be great.
Look, I'm gonna be in attendance, so I'm gonna literally be like soaking up that entrance from Shinsuke Nakamura. in person.
Oh my God, man, dude! I gotta be a part. When next time NXT coming to Michigan?
Oh, I have no idea. They usually just sort of like spring it on us, and then tickets go on sale like 2 days later, and then they sell out.
I have to be a part of a Nakamura show, man. I fucks with him, man. But I fucks with Samoa Joe too, man.
Right.
Samoa Joe, I always say this, he got the hardest intro music, and his shit is just so hard. Like when you hear it, you ball your face up. Like, what's that? Like I could rhyme on that shit. Like really, yeah. And they're both amazing artists in their own right, man. Yeah, NXT. I'm curious to when Joe's going to get that call up, man. I would love to see Samoa Joe go against Brock Lesnar. I think that would be.
So many of us want to see that.
That would be, man. That would be like hella fine if we got an opportunity to see that.
So many of us want to see that. And then also going on at Takeover is another meeting between the Revival and DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. It's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT tag belts. Their match before at the previous Takeover was literally my favorite tag match of this year. And
really,
I can't wait to see this again in person. And it's going to be 2 out of 3 falls. Like, these guys are all great workers. I'm a big fan of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. And I love the Revival because they're very reminiscent of like Ole and Arn Anderson type of wrestlers, you know.
Beer Money too.
Oh yeah, yes.
They remind me of Beer Money a lot.
Speaking of Beer Money, Bobby Roode's also on the card, and I can't wait to see his. Entrance in person, and he's going against somebody who's so super underrated and such a hard worker and such a great worker, in Ty Dillinger.
Oh, Ty Dillinger, a beast. Yeah, he is underrated, big time underrated. Yeah, NXT is the shit, man. I like NXT. I like what they do. Is my girl will be on that card?
Who? Asuka?
Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey James is going against Asuka.
Oh man, I love Mickey James, man. She got man. Who?
I'm excited to see how that comes about, man. It's like, man, like Asuka's a beast, man. I always feel like she's gonna legit hurt somebody, man.
Yeah. She reminds me of a female Shinsuke Nakamura. She reminds me of her a little bit, with a little female touch, you know. But I just want to see Mickey James, man. Yeah, Mickey James. I'll be looking at Mickey James like, yeah. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey, you so fine.
Oh.
Yeah, hey, Mickey.
And then they're gonna have the tournament finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classics with the Authors of Pain versus TM61. I'm actually super interested in this this match. Shane Thorne from TM61, he had an incredible match on NXT a few weeks ago with Roderick Strong. After Austin Aries got hurt, got his eye busted from Shinsuke.
I've seen that. That's nice.
Instead of having a tag match, they just for the tournament they had Shane Thorne from TM61 go against Roderick Strong, and it was such an incredible match, you know. And I'm excited to see the evolution of both of these tag teams. You know, you got these two beefy guys that are managed by Paul Ellering, you know, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but you know, the problem with that, and I hate to be like this, man, because you know I'm a Paul Ellering guy.
Right.
I love Paul Ellering, but Paul Ellering only looks right with the Legion of Doom.
Of course.
I don't care who I don't care what big guys you put next to them. They're not hawking animals. So when I see something like this, it makes me go to the left, because when I see these big monsters, they're so stiff in the ring. It look like they're trying to hurt people.
They're almost too beefy, you know. It's just like
it's like scary. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hawking Animal was scary, but it was more to them than just like everything was just a perfect match, man. When you link Paul Ellering to big dudes like that, the first thing us traditionalists are going to think, man, here we go with some more Road Warrior biters. And for me, I don't like that type shit, man. Could they possibly be a great tag team? Sure, but I don't know. I think us fans will forever look at them as you trying to copy off the Road Warriors. That's just how we look at it, right or wrong. That's just how we look at it.
Right. And moving on to the Survivor Series, we got the big. How do they build it? This is fantasy warfare between Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg.
Oh my God! I think we need to pray first and foremost that we have a good match. Because the first match that they had was just so horrific. And I don't think a lot of people remember that first match. A lot of people was kids during that first match.
Right.
And they don't remember that. So if you go back and replay that, you'll see how horrible it was. I really just hope Bill Goldberg has a great showing. I think he's been missed in the sport. I think he lost a lot of years not coming back early. But I'm happy that we're going to see this again. I just hope that they don't make it a pushover match for Brock like I'm hearing that they are.
Yeah, that's the things that I'm always curious about now is that, like, does Brock want to put over anybody anymore? And is that all we have to, expect from Brock Lesnar, is that he's going to win every time? Like, there's one thing to be like an unbeatable beast, but then there's a thing where you just kind of expect it to happen, and you're like, this ain't cool anymore.
Yeah, you just never know, man. I don't think Brock wants to put anybody over. If he put anybody over, you know who it should be? Samoa Joe.
Oh, definitely.
He should put Samoa Joe over, man. I would love that. But we gonna see how that shit plays out, man. But it's gonna be interesting, man. Come Sunday, man. I'm curious to see what we're gonna get. Maybe we can get another spear. Maybe we can get another jackhammer. Maybe it can be a fantastic match. Maybe you just never know. I think we're definitely going to find out on Sunday, man. And I'm just hoping for a good show.
Right. Yeah. Before we go to the actual traditional Survivor Series elimination matches, there's two other matches that have implications in regards to titles and each of the brands. This is something I'm sort of excited for because I hope it happens the way that I hope it happens. You got the Brian Kendrick versus Kalisto. It's for the Cruiserweight title, but if Kalisto wins, the title and the whole Cruiserweight division will go to SmackDown, which I hope happens.
I don't think it's enough time for us to see a lot of Cruiserweights on SmackDown. I think the 3 hours on Raw gives them more visibility than to trying to squeeze them on the 2 hours of live SmackDown. That's just me.
But no, I don't. But I think there's more of a, when it comes to the Cruiserweights, the way those guys go, there's more of that competitiveness that fits on SmackDown better, because it's kind of hard to do the sort of storylines that are Raw driven on with these cruiserweights, and it doesn't seem to be working. I feel like they would be more comfortable on SmackDown. And when you have somebody like Mauro Ranallo as an announcer, he knows how to sell these sort of wrestlers. And I think that's what why they would fit on SmackDown more. I feel like they can fit those guys properly onto that product, So I'm hoping Kalisto wins, and that it all just. Plus, they're also doing that show afterwards, 205 Live, that's centered around the cruiserweight division after SmackDown on the network. So.
You're right.
So I mean, I think it would probably be better even for that show if there was a taste of the cruiserweights on the show that plays just before it, So
yeah, that makes sense.
And then another fight that they're having, the Miz actually won his Intercontinental title back from Dolph Ziggler this past Tuesday. So he's going to be going against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental belt, and I think that's going to be a pretty good fight.
But see, all that really means is, they didn't want two fan favorites going against each other, and they didn't want Sami Zayn to win the belt from fan favorite. Okay,
right?
I get
exactly.
that. So put it on the. Say again?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
So you see that. So does this mean we're about to see the Intercontinental Championship on Raw? Yeah, that's what it fucking means for the most part. And I don't really know how I feel about this. Want to know why? For whatever reason, Sami Zayn reminds me of hardcore Bob Holly. Remember Bob Holly?
Yeah.
When I see him come out with that goofy music and his goofy tights with the checkers and like, what the fuck? What is that? Like, what? I don't know. It's something about Sami Zayn. When I see him, I get mad. Like, why? Why do we cheer for this guy? He's like,
I don't know. I like him. He's somebody that I think.
I hear his music, I get mad.
I think he's someone that kind of. I think he's someone he kind of appeals more towards the kids,
Yeah.
And stuff like that. He's kind of a fun. He's a competitor though, but he's kind of like a fun-loving guy sort of thing. So
and he only, one of the things that it's like they watered him down a lot on Raw, man. I used to love to see him dive between them two turnbuckles, from the floor to do like almost a tornado DDT.
Oh,
I used
yeah.
to love seeing him do that shit in NXT. And then it's like you don't see him do it often anymore at the Raw show. It's like, man, where did that go, man? Where did that Sami Zayn go? Oh yeah, but we still get the tights and the music. And, like, I just wish I could make over a lot of these dudes. I'm tired of Roman Reigns coming out looking like looking like the Shield all over again. Your own guys have they've all transitioned into something else. They've all, Seth Rollins, own entity. Dean Ambrose, he still kind of looks the same, but that's who he is.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns is, I don't think we'll ever cheer for this guy, ever. The little momentum that he had, as U.S. Now, see, that would be nice. How about the U.S. Championship go over to SmackDown? Like, SmackDown needs something other than the world title. And, I hate to even be like this, although I like Rhino and Heath Slater, and they're over. But it's a waste of a tag team division. I'm not really excited about the tag team division over in SmackDown.
Right.
I'm just Not excited about it at all. I could live with it. I could do with it, do without it. It's not going to make or break me, man. The only thing I care about on SmackDown is AJ Styles. And AJ Styles, champ. He's the face that runs the place.
The champ that runs the camp.
That runs the camp. That's right.
All right. When it comes to the Survivor Series elimination matches, the traditional Survivor Series matches, you know, are you Team Raw? Or are you Team SmackDown?
I'm SmackDown, man. And the reason being, I can't root for any team Stephanie McMahon is behind. I'm not a Stephanie McMahon person. Right. You know, I rocks with the champ. I rocks with the real champ, not the universal champ, not the paper champ.
Right.
Not the guy, not the guy who we just go give a belt because we don't want to give it to this guy because of whatever. You know, I runs with my man AJ Styles and his team, man. So SmackDown all day.
Definitely, I'm definitely Team SmackDown. But when it comes to the tag team elimination match, I would not be mad if Team Raw won. If in the end it was either Cesaro, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, or any member of the New Day who won, who was the last man standing. Or got the pin, or actually got the pin to win the. I would not be mad if Team Raw was the one that wins the tag team match.
I will go on to say that I agree with you with that.
Yeah, if any of those guys get the final pin, I'll be fine with that.
I'm with that. And as far as the women, you know, I didn't realize Nia Jax was The Rock's cousin.
Yeah.
Had no clue that Nia Jax was or had literally no idea that Nia Jax was that they were related.
Yeah, she's in that family. She's in that whole family.
I guess I'd be rooting for Charlotte. It's hard for me to root for the female Enzo. What's her name? Carmella?
Yeah.
She's super corny, man. Oh my God. Carmella's corny. But then again, old girl is corny too. What's her name? Snoop's cousin.
Sasha
what's
Banks.
Her name? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Sasha Banks. Yeah.
Yeah, Sasha Banks, the boss. Yeah, corny.
Wait, did you? In regards to this, did you see on SmackDown when Team Raw came in and was laying the beat down, and Bayley got in the middle of it and was starting to do the beat down?
Now I seen when Carmella initially jumped on her partner, and then Raw started beating her ass. I mean, Carmella jumped on her opponent.
Yeah.
And then I seen the Raw competitor start beating her down.
Right.
I think that turned my stomach for a minute. So I really didn't. I don't remember. What did Bayley do?
No. Okay, it was funny.
Okay,
it was Carmella versus Nikki Bella, and then shit went haywire. Team Raw, came into the ring and started beating down on Nikki Bella. But the funny thing is, during all that, like, Bayley was a part of that mob beating down on one person, and that's totally against everything we've seen from Bayley.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing ever, because everybody on the internet just blew up on that. We're like, holy shit, Bayley's over there just putting a beat down. She's a part of the mob. That's not what she does.
Hey, man. Yeah, wrestling will have you fucked up for a minute, man.
It was the funniest shit. It was the funniest thing ever, man. I'm like, what the fuck? Wait, that's Bayley right there.
That's not even how you rock.
Man,
you don't even get down like that. What are you doing?
You don't know about that life? Come on, man. No.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe we can see Shane O'Mac with a crazy elbow on Sunday. That would be great. I always root for Shane McMahon, though. I like Shane O'Mac, man.
But I'll say this: the confrontations that Team Raw and Team SmackDown, the main singles competitors, had at the end of both on each shows were really entertaining, especially at the end of Raw.
I agree.
They were really good. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely agree.
And then this Tuesday we also had the return of the Undertaker on SmackDown, and like this guy.
I didn't know. Look, I didn't know what to expect because I had been seeing the stories just like you, Undertaker surgery, Undertaker walking around with a cane. So when I seen that, I was like, "Oh shit, is he gonna be okay?" And you know, I mean, he didn't look like he was walking ginger. He didn't look like he was walking soft. He typical Undertaker style. So, you know, I don't know. I didn't get where he was going, where he said he didn't want the WrestleMania to define him. Well, it's a little bit too late for that because you've been doing the same match for over 20-some-odd years. So that is going to define you in some instances, man, especially when your title reigns have been super short. So I've heard something like that the Brothers of Destruction are going to be reuniting, and we you know, I'm curious just to see what's going to happen with the Undertaker in these next couple months. And if this is the swan song, I hope he go out with a bang.
Right, because it's cool because he kind of came in the ring. You know, everybody always gets chills with that entrance. His greatest entrance,
of course,
ever. You know, and he gets in the ring and kind of gives Team SmackDown a motivational speech, like an Undertaker motivational speech, and
then basically told him, "If you fuck up, y'all got me to deal with."
I love that because he kept it like totally open ended. Like after Survivor Series, you have no idea what's gonna happen with the Undertaker.
True.
And I love that.
True.
They gave us a little bit of intrigue in regards to that. So that was one of the things that I liked about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard not to get happy when you see the Undertaker. It definitely is.
Right. Like even AJ Styles was trying to hold in how like he was marking out in the ring, man. He was trying not to show it,
Of course he was. Look, he was smiling. It's like, because he's a fan. Like, that's what be the genuine shit about wrestling. You can tell when somebody's a fan. And to see AJ smiling like that, it was like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And to, you know, sort of close out this podcast this week, there's something I wanted to discuss. Did you hear about that the thing at the Evolve show with Joey Styles?
Didn't he get fired or something like that? What did he say? What did he say live to get him? Because, you know, Joey has a history of saying some things,
right,
and getting called out on them.
Okay, this is at Evolve's recent iPay-per-view. So there's, you know, a couple hundred people at the venue. Then it's also an internet pay-per-view, so you have people watching live, you know, online. He made this comment, and this is, you know, just days after the election is over with. You had the ring girl, her name's Joanna. He said something to the effect where he's like, you know, girl, you look so good, you know, something like to the effect of our president, just like our president-elect, you know, I might want to grab your, and then he cut himself off, and then he said, he evaded to the word pussy by saying it's something that you call Stokely Hathaway, one of the other talent.
Oh, wow.
And so basically, you know, without him actually saying it, he's saying, girl, you look so fine, I want to grab you by your pussy, you know.
Grab you by the pussy.
And first off, the owner of Evolve, Gabe Sapolsky, he mandated to everybody no political talk at our events because he wanted their events to be an escape from all this crap having to do with the elections. So first off, he mandated that no jokes like that. But then for Joey Styles to make such a rapey joke like that is just is just horrible. And what the problem was after it is the debate that came after it. You had a lot of people, whether it's wrestling fans or people or other wrestlers, saying, "Oh, this is blown out of proportion," or "This is wrestling, anything goes," blah blah blah. But the thing is, this isn't ECW 1996 anymore. Like
Totally agree.
we've evolved, we've matured as fans, where we don't need to hear rapey jokes at a wrestling event to have fun, And there's still a lot of people stuck in those old ways and he got fired by Evolve. He also got fired by Chikara Pro. And look, Chikara Pro, they're an indie organization. I think they're out of Virginia or whatever. They have all these wacky gimmicks, like wrestlers who are ants and shit like that. They are proud of the fact that they're a family-friendly organization. So how can you trust somebody who makes a rapey joke with being a part of your organization now, when you're a family-friendly organization?
That's real.
Because even if you go back to the ECW days, and not to rationalize the shit that was going on back then, but to a certain extent, whether you're working for ECW, a part of the show, or going to it or attending the event, you had an idea that Bubba Ray Dudley might call you a fucking whore who sucks dick. That's something you expected. There was pretty much a consent that happened. With this shit that happened with Joey Styles, it was unscripted. The ring announcer Joanne had no idea he was going to say it. That fosters a very uncomfortable work environment that women have to deal with all the fucking time anyways. And you're going to your job, being a part of this wrestling thing that's actually something that's supposed to be an escape. And you got to deal with that shit, And then afterwards, Joey Styles did apologize, but then he still didn't understand that why people were upset by it, So this whole idea that it's wrestling, any joke goes or anything, that's just an outdated sort of thing, and it's stupid. And the guy who runs Chikara Pro, Mike Quackenbush, he's actually been one of the first people I've seen come out and say that there's so much about wrestling still that is very archaic and outdated in regards to things like that. So I'm glad that he said something like that, because it needs to evolve in that sense. And
times have changed.
Times have changed.
I agree. Yep.
And we've all been to enough of these events to where, you never leave saying, that was a good show, man. Those insults were good, but, I wish those insults were a little bit more rapey. No one ever says that. Right. So I'm glad that all these people were swift and very swift with their, cutting ties with him and saying that we are not a part of this. Times have changed. We need to respect and foster a safe environment, because also there's more women going to these indie shows now and being a part of it. So you can't foster this negative environment, because there's so much of a rape culture already out there, and people need to be vocal about this shit,
Totally agree with you, bro.
Yeah, it was just, and the worst part about it was still there's so many people that are part of the wrestling industry that are still stuck in those old times of glory, though.
It's just going to have to be something that's, practice, for now on. He's always made kind of crazy comments, man. And, back in those days, it was one of them things you kind of overlook. Now we're extra sensitive about everything. So, we live in a politically correct world, man. So, you definitely have to change with the times.
Right. And a lot of times I don't really agree with, when people just automatically throw back the whole politically correct argument or the pussification of America thing in regards to shit like this. Because it's like, no, it isn't that hard to not be an asshole, It's just, you're just being lazy. If you do jokes like that, you're just being lazy.
Right.
So I know I'm glad that there's people who really stood up swiftly about it. Didn't let it go on extra long, and then we totally are against that. No, they were like, no, we don't like this. And they even, and on the replay for the Evolve show, they even cut that from the show instantly.
Real talk.
So yeah,
as they should.
So yeah, it's just something that needs to be, because I've been to, and it was fun. And this was like one last point in regards to this. I was somebody the guy who owns the AAW company in Chicago, and I've been to a bunch of their shows, and to me, they're the best indie promotion in the Midwest. He tweeted about it, like, are we, blowing this out of proportion? I think, it's wrestling. And I hit him back and was like, yes, you're wrong, because we don't need to be going to, shows and hearing rapey jokes. And then I went on to tell him, I'm like, with AEW, you guys are one of the best indie organizations, and I never hear this from you. And you're definitely proof that you don't need to have these sort of jokes to have an amazing organization. And then what disappointed me was that he hit me back saying, well, under all that logic, you would think that you would say that intergender matches would condone domestic violence. And I'm like, no. That makes zero sense. Intergender wrestling matches, first off, they're all consenting adults that are going into a match, and it's a work. They know what they're going to be doing. So none of that equates to domestic violence at all, So some of the ways people are trying to rationalize this shit is fucking crazy, man. So I'm just glad that people move swiftly with it all and voice their concerns that this is wrong and we need to move on,
Yeah, life is it definitely has changed, and I don't know. That's why you got people like me and you to call it out.
Definitely. All right, man. I think that's about it for this week's episode of Fresh is the Word. V-Styles, tell me where you can tell everybody where they can find you online.
Hi, you can reach your man V-Styles at Twitter /VSTYLEZ. You also can hit me on Facebook.com/official V-Styles with the VSTYLEZ. You can hit my regular page on Facebook with just a /VSTYLEZ, and you can hit me on Instagram with the /VSTYLEZ.
Great. Thanks for listening, and remember, no episode next week due to Thanksgiving, so see you in 2 weeks.
Fresh is the word.